Hello, listeners. Just a bit of business to take care of off the top here. First and foremost, if you are a new listener or you just popped in for these horror films, we really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and would hope that you subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and continue to listen even beyond the month of October. Just as sort of a tease, we will be covering at least one more horror film before the end of the calendar year, and it's one that's relatively popular and has been recommended to us several times. The real reason I'm here, though, is to say that for this episode, we had a guest. Our guest was Johnny Numb, on loan from the Last Knock horror podcast. He was an amazing guest. He was extremely funny. He threw a lot of knowledge at us, and his robot impressions were dead on. The reason I'm bringing this up and the reason I'm talking about this is because due to a technical error, his audio is gone. His audio was unusable. And what I did was I went through like an insane robot loose in a shopping mall and I chopped up all of the audio for this podcast. I then Victor Frankenstein pieced it back together. So it sounds like Jamie and I are having a conversation, just the two of us, and it actually sounds reasonably well. I brought this up for a couple reasons. One is because if you do hear weird edits or cuts or something like that, well, now you know what the deal is. But overall, it sounds quite good, and our production values aren't through the roof on a normal day. The other reason I bring this up is because Johnny really was a fantastic guest. We want to have him again at some point. And I did put links to his podcast, links to his blog in the show notes. I invite everyone to go and listen to The Last Knock. It is an amazing podcast, especially if you're just here for horror. They do a great job breaking it down by category, by genre. Each episode is very unique and quite entertaining. So that's it. I know I hit you with a lot of information off the top, but let's move on with the show. 50% of the title is a lie. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Chopping Mall.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. I am one half of this team. I am Jamie Lorello. I am here as usual with the DP Douglas Cambridge.
What's the? Oh, that was an intro. Okay.
That was a phonetic outline of your name.
No, that's okay. Would you like to continue with this, or are you passing the baton? What's?
Oh, I'll baton pass.
Right.
I love a good baton pass. Sure.
Well, thanks for the introduction. I hope I didn't get you sick. I mean, we can't get sick through Skype, but you know, and it's sad because for both of our horror films, one of us is sick. So if you just drop out or pass out halfway through,
it's the Sudafed, guys.
That's right. Yeah,
Sudafed.
I'll know what to tell the paramedics through Skype when they show up.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Let's hit stop again. Let's delete. Let's start over. Anyway, the other thing is, and we don't have anything to really discuss off the top, but last episode I didn't even mention who suggested this movie, but it is a Twitter follower called Keysworth. And when
Keysworth?
Keys
and Keysworth?
Yeah, Keys with a Z.
Ah.
But when this person suggested this, they were Captain Keysworth, and then I went to find them, and they had changed their handle, so I was very confused. But anyway, that being said, thank you, Keysworth, for this movie. I genuinely say that, and we'll get into it. And Jamie, I had told you that I'd seen this movie before.
Yeah.
After I watched it, I realized I've never seen this.
Oh, no.
I knew the idea behind it. The overall look of it seemed familiar, but no scene did I look and say, oh, I know what's happening here or what's going to happen. I don't think I've ever seen
None of it was familiar as far as...
No, so this is fun. None of us having seen it. I think that's great. So our film, we haven't even mentioned it. It is Chopping Mall from 1986. It is a cool 77 minutes long. This movie is like an hour 15, basically. It has to be
quick and dirty.
It has to be the shortest movie we've done so far, right? It's gotta be.
I'm not sure.
Right,
it didn't feel that short sometimes, I'll tell you that. You were looking for like at least 90 minutes? You were looking for like a solid... Did you want more robots, though? Or did you want more... Well, we'll get into it, I guess.
It's all robots. It's all robots. This is like 90% robots. I don't know how you could get more robots into this movie. I thought just go up and down steps and these things will not be able to follow you.
I thought about Polly's girlfriend from Rocky IV. You know, the robot girl?
These things are a mashup of those. And I also thought, like, Johnny Five, when their arms and stuff were flailing around, that's what I thought of. But
they didn't seem threatening.
No, they didn't seem threatening.
I mean, until the lasers and stuff came out. But they
They murdered quite a bit. So, I mean, in that sense, they were very efficient.
And deadly, true. But the overall look, I wouldn't say was aggressive.
Before we talk about the movie, Jim Wynorski directed this. He has over 100 directing credits. And some of his movies, I just had to write them down. He did The Witches of Brestwick 1 and 2.
Oh, boy.
Busty Cops 1 and 2. Also, The Da Vinci Coed and The Hills Have Thighs. And that's just a few. Like, there's 90 other softcore movies that he's directed.
So there probably is a longer cut of this movie that perhaps you'd like to see somewhere.
You know what? I kept seeing something that said that originally it was 95 minutes, but I found nothing to back that up. Even in interviews with the director, he said it was only, I think, 81 minutes at its longest. So it's a trim little movie. All right, let's get into it. Let's go. There's nothing to. Let's just talk about this movie. So
yeah, let's get in the mall. Let's get in there.
So we're treated to a fake out at first. It is a fake movie. I thought I was watching Chopping Mall, but I wasn't. I was watching a promotional video advertising these murderous robots.
Yes.
Where a jewel thief breaks into a jewelry store in the mall and then is electrocuted by a robot who is impervious to bullets. Right? I mean, that's it. And then, like, the end flashes up on screen, and I was like, what's going on? Did I accidentally skip to the last chapter of this movie and the robots won?
Yes.
I think the biggest problem with this movie is, why do these robots exist?
Yeah, how dangerous is this mall on its own?
Well, the mall's not dangerous until these robots become part of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What's been happening at this mall at night? They are like, we need to get security is not doing its job. We need to get the robots in, and they need to sleep dart because they're not supposed to. They're not designed to kill. Allegedly, like all good protective robots, they're not designed to kill, but they do. And they throw like lasers, yes, but it's a sleep dart too, right? That comes like darting out of there.
Right, yeah, they're supposed to tase people or hit them with sleep darts. That is explained by the people who made these robots, I guess, who are presenting this.
What is it? Securonics? Tonics?
I don't know.
Tronics?
I don't know.
Would be tonics. Well, they need to secure some tonics and gin.
That's the robot that serves drinks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird, too, because for all the exposition dump, we still don't know why this mall needs these. Like,
no.
Jamie, you're right, because this is clearly not saving them money. What does a security guard cost? Like, especially in the 80s, $8.50 an hour? These things must be hundreds of thousands of dollars each.
There are security guys that still have to monitor them.
They're like scientists.
We see. Yeah. They're in lab coats.
These guys are earning. This is a salaried position. This is not cost effective.
And so, okay, but so we see this exposition. It's a presentation to let you know about what these were. But who is it to? Is it to the mall, like the managers of the stores? Because the kids that are actually in the mall that night have no idea, right, that these robots exist? Or do they? Oh, yeah, they do. But they weren't in this training. Because you would think these robots are here, we need to all be trained. Because they do say about showing the badge. Right. The robot knows who you are.
But at least if these kids had seen the videos, they wouldn't try shooting them with guns because they would have seen that it doesn't work.
But it's not going to work.
So during this training video, we're actually introduced to some characters that are actually kind of a lot of fun. They are the husband and wife team in Eating Raoul. And they are reprising their roles as those people. Which is really weird, first of all. And she was the one who was the evil scientist in Night of the Comet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just got to see her.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're just making...
But this is all we see them. This is it
exactly.
For them in this movie.
But they're just making comments that don't make any sense. Because when they unveil these robots... She's like, they look like the Three Stooges. And they don't. They look like robots and they all look the same. And he even says, oh, the middle one has an upsetting ethnic quality to it. Like, what?
I didn't remember.
They're just robots. And then that's it. Then they're out of the movie. Done. Well, what I think is great is that the robots aren't supposed to kill anybody, yet they have laser eyes. Like, why would you, if they're not meant to murder people, why is this a function?
They go from protect to kill like that. Like, there's not a few people that they maybe are like...
Well, Jamie, the mall was struck by lightning. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, I guess that's true, and it just kind of disrupted their whole... mumbo jumbo? I'm not sure.
After this presentation, which is great, by the way, it really is. Like they have like Price is Right girls that are unveiling these robots.
Oh, that's right.
But after this, we have a montage of just a day in the life of this mall.
The Miss USA swimsuit contest that goes through the mall.
Why is there a beauty pageant in the mall?
But now that I know the director's background with the softcore porn, it makes sense. He's like, get some chicks in bathing suits in there. Get them to walk around. It's a crowded mall. The kid on the skateboard.
People are just skateboarding. A couple is making out hot and heavy on a bench, too.
And the old people watch, right? Isn't there an old couple next that are like...
Mm-hmm. They love it.
Oh, she's so busy in the food court. She's got so many things in her hands. I'm just like, put something down. And there's like pressure.
It does keep cutting back to her with these giant cups of Coke with no lids on them. And I'm like, something is going to happen here. Yeah. So we're finally introduced to some of our main characters, where we see two of the girls. They work at a restaurant, and the amount of like messy, over-the-top, slobby garbage on the guy's shirt who was running this restaurant. The guy with the horrible Italian accent. I've never seen that much comical sludge on somebody's shirt since... Remember the guy in You Can't Do That on Television named Barf? Who?
Yeah.
That's who this guy reminded me of. That's right. And all the kids would vomit at the end of the sketch. So the girls are, is it just like a pizza place? Because she goes up and orders a ton of food, but it's just for one guy. It's just for this big fat slob.
One sloppy guy, That they're all eye rolling. They're like, oh, that guy. No, I don't think it's a pizza. It's more like a diner inside the, right? That's what it looked like inside the mall.
I have a lot of questions about the stores in this mall. There's a store that's like the gasoline store.
I was going to say there's an ammo store. I know it's the sporting goods store, but they have a lot of ammo there.
Yeah, Peck and Paws, which is fun. Yeah. All right, so after this, this movie, the one thing with this movie, and I know, Jamie, you said that, you wish parts of this movie were a bit faster or something like that. This movie wastes no time. Like, this is just like...
No, it does move on.
Here's a couple of kids robots go crazy. Let's start killing people. I mean, it's almost immediate. So right after this, we are introduced to this scientist technician who is working.
The guy that's supposed to watch the robots?
I don't know.
I thought he was just like a security guard in a lab coat because he doesn't really do anything scientific and he doesn't know when they're like activated.
No.
Right? He's like reading a paper or eating
a
paper.
paper.
Like they're never
He's
really
looking
attention.
at porn. This guy's like 3 minutes from jerking off at work, which is
that's
disturbing.
right. The first guy is. That's right. That's right.
Like, that's where this is going, right? Like, if these robots hadn't killed him, that's the next thing that's going to happen in this movie.
This is true. This is true.
But so the mall is repeatedly struck by lightning, which then I guess we are meant to believe, Jamie, as you said, it messes with their programming. And makes them murderous, but also really sneaky because they'll turn on, and then when the scientists will turn around, they'll shut themselves down.
Yeah, they know.
Like, we
right?
can't let this guy see us. There are times in this movie where the robots look at one another in order to
they do. They make
to each other.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Which also seems like an odd thing to build into machines.
Well, the chopping, there's really no chopping. These robots don't chop, let's be clear. There's lasers and there's sleep darts and, kill darts, I guess.
Right.
But there's no chopping of any. They do chop half heads. They explode heads. They don't even chop off a head.
They don't chop off heads. They're more efficient than that. They don't have little axes that come out and have to keep hacking on a neck.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought there were going to be these giant robots with like Edward Scissorhands that were going to come and chop. That's what I was expecting. And I didn't get that. I thought they were going to like rototill the hell out of these kids. That's what I was expecting. And that didn't happen.
No, these kids kind of kill themselves. They're not that smart. So, sorry, I didn't mean to state the obvious there.
Yeah.
So after this first scientist is murdered by getting clamped in the throat, they're into those clamps for the most part.
Yeah. When they're up close.
Right,
yeah.
right. So,
when they're
right, we meet our 3 male characters who all work at a furniture store. They seem to run it. I don't see anyone else working
No,
there.
I think one of their dads is the owner.
Right.
Right? The one nerdy guy, right? His dad's the owner.
There's a nerd because he wears glasses. There's a guy who's...
He's the one who doesn't want to go to the party. He doesn't want to... Right? He's like, I'm not into this. And then the rest of them...
Did you recognize that guy?
Oh, no.
He was the kind of like the good-looking, smart guy on Head of the Class. The student who had like really nice hair, and he was... I can't...
Wow, it's literally like the Head of the Class part of my brain just got illuminated. Like I forgot about that show and the people in it. And then just now it was like
I didn't know when I looked at him, and then I had to click on him, but then it's like, oh, you just take the glasses off, and yeah, he's that guy. So
I might have to recommend Head of the Class now. Wow. All right.
Just pick out a specific episode if you could. All right. So these 3 dudes, like I said, work in this furniture store. They don't... There's the nerd. There's the other guy who... I don't know. The other guy's character trait is that he chews gum. That's pretty much it.
Oh, he's kind of the
he's kind of the big dumb jock.
And he does chew a lot of gum. Yeah.
How old are these kids? And I'm calling them kids, but a pair is married. Like...
Are they married?
Yeah, the pair that show up in the truck.
The one that what?
The pair that show up in a truck and she wears a flannel shirt.
Oh yeah, the pair that really get insane about the fact that they can't be without each other. She's in the air duct and she got
No, they're not married. It's the brunette, the only brunette girl, and all the guys look the same. I really had a problem
I think that's why I'm confused.
After the guy who chews gum dies, I literally kept having to look for somebody with glasses because I'm like, he's the only one I can differentiate. It doesn't matter. All these people just die so quickly and they don't even matter. But
you kind of knew, though, like when I was like, you got to kill the gum chewer first just because of the gum. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead.
I kind of enjoyed
I didn't mean to give
him.
anything away there.
I mean, he was kind of my favorite character in this movie.
Really? He was the one I was like, if we could kill anybody first,
he was such a stupid creep, and he was the only one that seemed to have any sort of personality. All right, okay, so we... I stopped watching after he was murdered, after he tried to buy cigarettes.
He's like, I can't take this. The hero's gone.
He was continuously distracted from buying cigarettes. We do find out that a couple's married, so I don't know how old these people are. And the married couple's like, the girl's like, do we really have to do this? And he's like, yeah, it'll be fun. Let's go hang out in the mall after hours to party in a furniture store, which did kind of seem like fun. I got to tell you, that actually seemed like fun.
When the other two girls are getting ready for the waitresses, are they in a locker room?
A locker room in the mall.
At the mall?
Is this a thing? I've never worked at a mall.
I didn't think so.
The most backstage at a mall was just like to go down the corridor to use the bathroom. Like that's the most off the beaten path I ever got. But
I thought maybe they went to the gym in between. Was there a gym maybe in this mall?
There's everything. There's a freaking paint store in the mall. I don't think that's real.
Maybe that's why it needs all this security.
It doesn't seem to make sense that they would shower at the mall. I worked at a lot of restaurants, and sometimes I'd have to wear like a uniform almost, and then but it was normally just a shirt that went on over your clothes. Like if I was like food prep or whatever, and then you take it off and you throw it in a pile, and some old lady would wash it overnight.
Sure.
But there wasn't a shower at any restaurant that I've ever worked at, or a locker room, but maybe. The mall's also carpeted, which seems very unsanitary and super gross.
I didn't note the carpet, but it is.
You didn't know? It's red. It's red or like magenta everywhere, except where Dick, what's his face, is cleaning up a puddle of puke. I guess that's the only part where it's not carpeted.
Oh yeah.
Right. So another technician arrives after the one is murdered.
Right.
And eats the guy's sandwich, and he's then killed. These technicians don't do much. I guess they're just there to show us where these robots are stored, I guess.
And how deadly they are, and how very deadly they are.
Yep. And
because any of the guys have to show their ID, these guys? No, the robot just goes in to both these guys, right? Yeah, they don't even know they're being killed to their death.
But I love how the robots must clean up after their murder because the other technician's not there anymore. Like the robots must have taken him away and shoved him in a closet or something because the other guy comes in and sits in the same chair that the one guy was just killed in, which makes them even more sentient than I thought they were. They're like, holy shit. Bill's shift is going to start pretty soon. We got to get Larry out of here.
We got to
throw this guy in a back closet. Now we can murder him and I guess then take over the mall. I don't know what their motivation is.
They just are killing.
The party starts.
Yeah.
And this is awesome.
So there's this is not a very big party. It's just basically all these couples, right? It's not like a party. Because you see, when the party starts, there's a couple grinding pretty hard. Mm-hmm. There's a couple basically straddling each other awkwardly. Mm-hmm. And then there's another couple just sort of white kid dancing over to the other side, right?
I think that's the married couple.
Essentially the jam, right? And then, of course, there's are they our heroes, I guess? They end up being our survivors. So I guess she's pretty much a hero. She's a shooter.
I like to think that they're all heroes in their own right.
Oh.
Yeah, I almost expected to see like a POV shot from the robots where they paired the couples up and realized
where they had their own little, yeah.
I'm surprised we never saw anything like that. In a movie like this, I'm surprised we never saw sort of the POV with the heat signals or like predator type thing. I am
going in.
Yeah, I'm surprised we never
saw the girl in her
like
panties when she was running like a lunatic.
You mean slowly trotting away? Because these robots are not fast. That's the other thing. They're very slow.
Well, that's what's so, like, how scared are you at first of them? I mean, again, until the lasers start coming out. But they're on, like, what's that truck? It's like a...
Right. They just have treads at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can't go up steps. At one point, we see one on an escalator, which seems like that wouldn't happen. That doesn't seem practical, which is why they have 3 robots, one for each level, because they can't get to other levels.
Right. They should have activated the escalator somehow. That's what this crew should have done to get these.
But we see one go up an escalator, but it's shot well because we don't see the bottom of him. We just kind of see his head going up because they must have realized that's a huge mistake. But you're right. At least there's an elevator at this mall where a kid eating ice cream appears to be lost at the beginning of this. Did you notice that lost child is covered in ice cream?
On the elevator, so sad with his drippy ice cream. Yeah.
Oh, there were so many people on there.
Oh.
And I guess we're meant to believe they all mushed the ice cream against that kid because they were all crammed in there.
Maybe.
All right. Oh, also when they're partying, this is the robots roll into action, meaning they just wander around the mall for a while. But when they're
going online, right? Isn't this when they go online? Don't they say that?
Yeah. Oh, they say things all the time. When they roll out, it's like number 1 online, number 2. They have to tell each other where they are.
There's no distinguish. It's not like one of them is a certain color or one of them looks like a ladybot. No.
Just one with a wig on. I imagine that during the making of this, there was no more than 2 robots made. And it was just like, let's take this number off. Let's stick on 3.
Do you think there was a midget inside the robot moving it around? How do you think it worked out there?
Maybe when it was on the escalator, but I don't know. They're like, here, put this robot head on you, and then we'll just kneel down on the escalator. We'll just film from your neck up. Don't worry. I don't know, because it looked like they were remote control. I don't know. They looked pretty good. I thought for a movie that had no budget whatsoever, I'm assuming the robots did look pretty good.
Okay.
All right. Oh, also, when they're in this store partying, the one robot drives up and looks at them and then just keeps going. Like, I guess this is fine.
Takes it in.
I don't want to murder. I better wait till they split up, try and pick them off one by one. But it doesn't seem at all alarmed by this.
They wanted to be invited to the sexcapade at the furniture store because that's what ends up happening. Right? It's a party, and then then it's not even a furniture store, it's just a mattress store, right? Because they're all on a bed.
And they're all like 3 feet from the other couples, too.
And I didn't know, I was like, was this a thing, like, to party at the mall? Was it a thing to try to have sex in a furniture store?
I don't know.
Was it something?
I've been to plenty of furniture stores. I never really thought about it. But I don't know. It would be kind of fun to party at the mall after hours, like especially at that time in the 80s. Like that would be kind of fun. But you're right, Jamie. This is just like it's just like an excuse to go to Pound Town. That's all these kids are doing.
Pound Town? Did you call it? What'd you call it?
I said Pound Town. But you're right, because that's all that's happening. Couples are having sex in beds that are kind of right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And some lines in this movie are, I'm sure, written to play for laughs, but never delivered like that, because the nerdy couple is watching a movie while everybody else has sex.
They're trying to have a nice moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one couple is very loud, and I forget if it's the nerd girl or the nerd guy that goes, it sounds like they're really having a good time. And I'm like,
it's the nerd girl that was like, they're having, because they're moaning and she, I think, yells, "You're the king," or something. And she's like, sounds like they're having a nice time.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think that's how you were supposed to deliver that line.
Before that, there was a girl, and I don't remember if she must have been getting ready. I don't know if this is part of her foreplay. She's like humming creepily the song Topless. She's humming Strangers in the Night, I think.
Right. Well, she's the one that's on top of the guy, and he's like, "You smell like pepperoni." And she's like, "Oh." And she's all offended, and he's like, "I love pepperoni." And she is all about it. Because you're right. She turns away from him to get naked for the audience, us, and hums an odd tune while she's doing it.
And it's creepy. It's like, it's not hot or any kind of, I don't know, maybe for some.
The nerd couple really does make out pretty hardcore, which, I mean, they never have sex, so... they don't die.
Well, she convinces him to stay a little longer, which I like. He's like wanting to take her home, be all responsible, and she tosses her cup and is like, how about we stay a little longer?
Yeah, I liked how he was like, we better leave or else the mall's going to be locked down. And I'm like, wait, wasn't that the whole point of this? Like, wasn't it?
Yeah, and apparently the mall goes under, again, this mall needs very hardcore protective services. Like, apparently at a certain hour, the mall gets like double locked in, like these metal doors.
It's like Star Trek level blast doors just close up to seal again whoever's in the mall in or whoever's out is out. So why do we need robots? Just install those doors.
And they don't open again until 6 a.m. I guess.
Well, that's important because that gives us a timetable.
I thought, but then no, because then when they're in deep shit, they're all of a sudden it's like they're never going to get out of here. I'm like, the mall has to open again, no?
Well, you have to remember, they saw their friend's head explode, and another one just burst into flames. Like, I understand why they're panicking. Well, I was just going to talk about very quickly how Dick Miller is the unfortunate janitor who has to stay. While the other janitors are just drinking beer and they're like, you loser. Wait.
Yeah, he's getting he's kind of getting bullied by the other janitors, right?
But don't they right? They punch a clock, right? Shouldn't they all leave at the same time? Like, how are they just able to leave?
Night janitor, maybe. Or he's in charge of that area?
He is really great, and he does sort of add a bit of charm and humor to this movie because he's the one actor who seems to understand what kind of movie he's in. I like how he then tries to reason with it at one point because he's like, listen, I'm just like you. I work here. I'm like, what are you doing? It's a robot. What are you trying to do?
He, in all honesty, out of everyone that deals with the robots, he gives them the most, he's the realist with them. You know what I mean?
Well, he probably sees the future, which is janitor robots are right around the corner. He's going to be out of a job soon.
So
all they have to do is like install like a mop bucket on these things and they can be the security service and the janitors.
And they clean up their kills. Jeez. I do like, though, when he goes after him, though, because he gets angry enough that he does try to...
He tries to hit him with a mop.
Yeah. Stab him with the mop. Yeah.
Yeah, he does get angry, and he's going to hit this robot with his mop. But the robot shoots the little taser thing out, and it just falls right next to him. He's like, what the hell was that? What?
I thought that they were trying to give you a little more suspense with the kill. Because I thought when it happened, I was like, oh, see, they're going to show some of the robots malfunction. They can't, because it looked like the robot threw out like a dead fishing line or something. Like it was like this. So I was like, oh, robot malfunction. I like the janitor. I didn't think he was going to go so soon. But then you realize very soon in this movie that when it's just time. Yeah. It's your time, and you're done. So this guy was introduced, and now it's his time to die. And so, yeah, I thought it was a way of giving us a bit of suspense before the first
And there is a comical, like, skeleton animation over top of him for half a second.
Yes.
But then, he's just roasted, falls back down in the pile of puke. The robot tells him to have a nice day and then rolls away.
Thank you, have a nice day.
And I guess the other two janitors are leaving. They're out in their car. They're out of here.
They're out. They're done. They don't even have to think about him. Now they won't.
All right. So now we can get into the murders of the... I don't even want to call them teenagers because they could be in their 20s. I have no idea how old these kids are.
Party goers? Yes. What do you want to call them? Party goers,
right. Gang? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Jamie, would you like to talk about the guy who chews gum or he and his girlfriend?
Mike. I wrote down his name, Mike and his girl.
Didn't write any of their names down.
I didn't write. Well, she must call him Mike at some point. So she's craved. They must have just we know what they just did. She wants a cigarette. She's very insistent upon it. Mm-hmm. And I forgot this. There was cigarette machines that used to be just hanging out in the mall. Because he's like, where am I going to get? And he even is like, I've got Marlboro Lights. I've got these. She's like, she needs a specific kind. He could go get them. So he goes and to really tempt him, I think this is a titty flash that we get, a lovely.
And he is really spurred on by this. Like, they just had sex. And he looks like, oh, you're still naked? All right. I am totally going to get those cigarettes now.
Well, but he goes to get them. And we kind of know he's going to be the first to die. You kind of feel that the jerkiest of all of them is going to go first. He's down by the cigarette machine, and he answers the payphone.
I love
payphone
this.
rings. What was that? Is that a signal for them? Because doesn't a phone ring before they kill? Is that like a sign for them to kill?
No, I don't think so. Because he answers the phone. He's like, "No, Jamal, nobody's left you any messages." I'm like, why is this in this movie?
But I guess
did the phone ring while they were filming, and he just like, I'll just go with it.
I don't know, but he does. And is Jamal already dead? Maybe Jamal's the janitor? Did we get to know his name? Like, I don't know.
I don't want to say he doesn't look like a Jamal, but I don't. Dick Miller does not look like a Jamal.
Well, either way, after the call happens is when the robot is right there. Because they are, as far as kind of bulky as they are, they kind of creep up on you. Right?
Yeah, I guess weird. They're silent. I don't know.
So he shows his ID, which is what you're supposed to do.
And nobody shows their ID properly. These things have to scan your ID. Everybody's like, here's my damn ID, you freaking robo whatever, and puts it away. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah, but it's funny because the thing doesn't even register the ID. It's not even like it says it's your name, like, you know, Doug McCambridge, time to die. Yeah. You know, it just... It barely takes it in, and then it's just like...
Can you say that at my funeral? Like, if I die and I'm dead, can you just get up and do that? Doug McCambridge, time to die. And that'll be it. And then just leave. Like, mic drop and leave. And everybody will be like, who the hell was
Only
that?
If I'm in a robot costume. Only if I can roll in.
Okay.
Even if it's on roller skates or something. Yeah. Anyway, he gets... robot death darted, right? Doesn't he get the death dart?
Yeah, he gets like the sleepy darts. Like they put him to sleep and then clamp his throat.
Oh yeah, and then when they put him to sleep though. So yeah, they shoot him with the dart and he does a terrible fall down death scene.
Right.
Yeah. No, worse is later on when we have what's her name who either breaks her back or her leg and she like hobbles awkwardly and hops on one. Like, what happened to her? I was like, did she break her back or her leg? Why is she walking like that? But anyway, that's later. He falls down first from the dart and then they slit his throat.
Yeah, I guess they clamp his throat. I mean, we see it grab his throat. Right. But it's not until his girlfriend comes looking for him and the camera lingers on her butt for a very long time.
Well, she runs after. I'm surprised they let her put her top on to run after him, but she did. She had her underwear and actually even like more than a bra.
I'm sure it was in her contract somewhere.
Yeah, well, the deaths happen boom, boom.
Oh, yeah, she practically trips over him.
Oh, yes, she does. Like I got no time for this, right? She doesn't have time for this. Like, because she thinks he's just passed out.
Right, she doesn't even say stuff like that. She doesn't even say, stop fucking around or something, which might make sense. She's like, wake up. Wait, as though he just fell asleep.
Yeah, like he went to get her cigarettes and then passed out. She left the open boobas out before he left. Like, what? He wanted to get back in there. If it wasn't for the robot.
Well, the cigarettes did cost $1.25, which he seemed very upset about. He's like, $1.25? What the hell? And he has change in his. He's just going to pay in change. But, yeah. But, yes, then she discovers his body, and...
she's got a great scream,
I have seen plenty of head explosions in movies. I would say this is, like, Scanners was amazing. This is still pretty good. Like this.
Well, because to me, you didn't expect. So the robot, she discovers him, and now the robot discovers her, and we get a little chase going on where she's kind of awkwardly running and screaming. And then I thought, because now you didn't see an explosion of his head or anything. You knew his neck or whatever got cut. I didn't know if she was going to be lasered and do a same like fake fall down death. You don't know. You know what I mean? The other guy was electrocuted. So she goes back to the store and she just stands in front of them screaming right there in front of the store. The other people are in the store. They see her and she's just screaming at them. And then, like I said, I thought she was going to be like tasered or fall down or electrocuted. And her head explodes.
It's pretty funny. Because there's no blood. Like, it just looks like it vaporizes.
Popped. It just popped.
It was just like oatmeal that exploded.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really is. It's like her head exploded and just dust went everywhere.
Yes.
But it's a good effect for a little tiny crappy movie like this. Like, it's pretty good. I don't know how they did it, but the deaths in this, for the most part, I think are pretty inventive or interesting, or they try and do something that's at least a little more fun.
Try to be original.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the other robot, the second robot, comes downstairs somehow or whatever, upstairs, to join in the fight, and they just blow the shit out of this furniture store.
Yeah.
Just destroying again, the collateral damage that these robots are causing. And I know they weren't supposed to do this, but they did equip these things with lasers. Like, it's so... There's
no safety mechanism. There's no turn off. There's no emergency. Well, I guess there could be, but the scientists that control them have been killed.
Right. Well, that's what they talk about later.
On the third floor.
Yeah, when the nerds are like, let's go find this. And then they just run around. And I'm like, well, how did they... Of course they're not going to find this. They don't work. Well, they do work there, but they're not scientists.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And the nerd's like, I bet it's... I think if I put one in, I'd put... I'm like, you're not in charge of security for this mall. All right, but anyway, the mall, they escape the robots and lock themselves in this storeroom, where then they decide that the girls are going to go up through the air shaft. Well, they decide they're all going to do it, but the robots bust in and only the girls get into the air shaft. And the guys just kind of run away. Like, it was just that easy to get away.
Yeah.
And also these robots are equipped with plastic explosives. Which, again... Why would you do that? Why would you need to give these robots this?
They are well-armed robots for just protecting the mall at night. They've got a lot.
Yeah, but the doors do close and they are trapped in the mall for the duration.
Dun dun dun.
But now they're split up for a little while. Nothing in this movie happens all that long.
Well, I like the girls are up in the air vents and it's very hot. They keep saying how hot it is, although none of them are really visually sweating. No. We don't see any of them really sweating. But it's very hot, and this is where the one girl starts to sort of have a little breakdown. She must be claustrophobic. I'm not sure. She can't stand being up there. They're not going to make it through. She makes them leave.
She seems to allude to the fact that the robots are controlling the heating and trying to cook them in the... like... How would she jump to this conclusion? And also, why would you give the robots this? Like, the robots are going to be securing the mall and also going, it's a little chilly.
Controlling the heat? Yeah.
It's a little chilly in here this evening. We should turn up the heat for ourselves because we're the only ones in this mall and we're robots.
There you go. I
would have liked to have seen a little claw go out and turn a thermostat.
They do it with their laser eyes. Ding, 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 ding.
So the guys, like we said, they decide to ammo up, and they go into
Peck and Paws. That Peck and Paws, yeah.
And they get a bunch of guns and propane tanks. There's a lot of guns.
A lot of guns.
They are armed to the teeth. They have an assault rifle, I think, and a shotgun, and then the nerdy guy gets, like, the little pistol. It is funny because when they have all their guns and stuff, it's kind of like this weird slow-mo shot of them walking out of the store with their guns that seems odd and inappropriate in this movie. The tone of this movie is wildly all over the place.
Yeah.
I even think the odd electronica score does get Western at that point. So these guys decide to just start shooting one of the robots. And first of all, the robots are really bad shots with these lasers. Like they're
the
not guys are not moving and lasers are flying past them.
Beaming everywhere.
But the nerd does throw the propane tank and they shoot it and it blows up and the robot just kind of like tips over and they're like, "Yay! We killed it. That was really easy. Now we know how to kill it." And then when they walk away, the robot tips himself back over and is like, "Back online. That didn't do anything to me."
Wait, don't they see the robot blood? Don't they look over it first and see it bleeding?
They do. We as the audience have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, we don't see it, yeah.
But the one guy's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "That's robot blood." And I'm thinking, it's probably just oil. Like, what is he talking about? But in the meantime... the one girl, Susie, she might be the only girl whose name I wrote down. Susie's all panicky. She's
like
a panicky
Susie is
idiot.
her name. But she has a perfect panic name. Panic.
Panacony name? Mm-hmm.
She has a great panac name.
So,
if you're going to panac, Susie will panac.
Susie will do it.
Was she a hypochondriac? Well, I guess she's not a hypochondriac, Susie. She's just
Panacony?
She's got to get back. She's
So, but she kind of is like, "I have to get out of here." And so they all get out into the gasoline store, which sells gasoline, just tanks upon tanks. And you can go into a store and you can buy a little thing to put your gas in, but it's not filled with gas. You can't do that in a store.
Again, this is why the robots were needed to begin with, to protect all of these resources in this mall.
It's like, this gas has gone bad. We better dump this out. Dispose of it properly, though, number 2. Don't dump the gas down the drain. Well, at least, I mean, the guys stumbled upon, and again, they're not, at this point, the guys and the girls are separate, but the guys use propane to blow up one of them, and the girls decide that gas might work.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They do blow up one of the gas tanks.
Oh.
And there's just fire everywhere, and the robot's just like, "I'm a fucking robot," and just rolls right through it.
Yeah, it's kind of badass of the robot when he rolls through the flame, don't you think?
He stops for a second.
The robot's kind of like, "Go ahead, fuck with me," right? Don't you get that vibe? Like, he's just like, "Baby, you seen my lasers? There was a thunderstorm tonight. I'm jazzed." Sorry, I don't know.
Wow.
Go. We're going to be making love on the 3rd floor. Robot love.
That's why the robots didn't kill them before all the fucking happened. The robots are like, "You know what?"
So they were taking notes. The robots were like, how do the humans do it?
The robots are, they're hacking into the security cameras in the furniture store. So after the robot rolls through the fire, Susie kind of like does her best kamikaze like suicide bombing. Like, does she just fall over? She's got a tank of gas in her hand.
Oh, yeah.
Where when they shot the girl in the butt, it was almost like it just
first.
Ricocheted or deflected. Like, it's not like her ass exploded the way her leg does. Because her leg blows out and there's blood. And then she falls over and the robot shoots the gas can and she's on fire.
And then she crawls to her
friends.
Oh,
she tries to crawl
who are just watching her. That's horrible too. And they have a shot of the girls' faces as they watch her go up into flames and crawl toward her. And they're just like, oh man, oh Susie. Like you would imagine you would react if you watched your friend get set aflame by a robot. Yeah, they didn't know if they were supposed to be shocked or grossed out or like scared now.
It was like it was shot on a different day and they kind of forgot what was happening in the scene. They're like, is it still chasing us? Is the robot stopped at the fire? Why? Or should we be that scared of this? And the director never told them, no, your friend's
No, which
fire.
one? Yeah, he just went with whatever.
He's
and
like, these are good reaction shots.
Burned alive.
Burned alive. And this is her boyfriend sees it happen because this is when the guys kind of round the corner.
Oh, that's right. He was... Yeah.
And
he has a hard time with this. He has a hard time with them.
Oh. In the meantime, the guy's rigged up an elevator to explode. It's not that great, but that's what they're doing in the meantime while this is happening. But you're right. He does have a hard time with this. Because they decide to kind of hang out in a... Okay, this is where they hang out in the back of the restaurant, and this is one of the downtime.
Is this when they fall asleep for a while? Don't they all is this when they take their little nanas, which I thought was weird because I was like, aren't you guys, who's sleeping at a time like this?
Sorry, they do kill one of the robots because this is where the robot decides to take the elevator, and the elevator falls down and explodes, and I guess it's dead, right? We never see that robot again.
This is the one that Allison makes the shot on this robot, right?
Yeah.
Where they,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or on the elevator, I guess.
Because she says her dad's in the military, which is like a callback to her.
Yeah, she looks up, my dad's a Marine.
Right.
Oh, all right.
But it's like a callback to Night of the Comet. Remember their dad was
where her dad was also a Marine.
And,
yeah.
I like to think it's the same character, but this happened before the world
ended. She's just
ended.
ready
this is like
all.
This is like the weekend before everybody died and turned into red dust.
But she's older. She's clearly older in this movie. A lot more mature than the character we met in the other one. But yeah. Was there ever a sequel? Was there ever a Chopping Mall 2?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well,
right.
One would hope with Mark Ruffalo. I'm just saying.
With Mark Ruffalo? What? Wait, do you already...
It may or may not be one of my
Did you already cast
this
sequel? Is this your recommendation at the end? Mark Ruffalo. Is he a store owner or is he a teenager?
No, I would believe he'd be one of the party goers.
Okay, all right. I like it. I mean, he's old, but you could do it with like people in their 40s.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I would think that it was like a different, maybe not in a mall, maybe more of a small business owners that were trying to keep some security in their mom and pop shop.
Okay, so like they're making organic honey or something, and they need a robot to control their honey stand. Okay.
Precisely.
All right, I like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so to get us back on track here. So anyway, the nerd decides, when they're all sitting around talking, the nerd decides that they should go to the master computer and they can shut it down.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that's a great idea.
That's the only idea, really. They can't kill them. They're
but
realizing
why don't they just stay there? Like, they're in the pizza restaurant. They have appeared to have gotten away from these robots. Like, just stay there. The doors will open at 6. People will come in and see the chaos that has occurred and hopefully save you. But anyway, this is all they can think of. It's not a bad idea. But the guy who watched his girlfriend burst into flames runs ahead like a crazy idiot and then is thrown off of the top floor by a robot somehow. I don't know how it got a hold of him. I don't know how it threw him off. We don't see any of this. We just see him go,
we see him
and
plummet,
then we see a dummy fall down, and then we see him laying on the ground dead.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have to be without her too long, and he was really tore up. Just like she wanted to leave the air vent or the vents they were in because she was so concerned about him. And then she died. And then he was so upset that she died that then he died.
Well, after this guy's dead, so now there's just the nerd couple and the married couple are left. That's it.
Well, now the married couple girl has a breakdown, too.
Oh, my God.
Which is a great...
Again, another line that should be delivered so people laugh, but is dead serious. Just a dead serious line where it's very apologetic, too, because she's almost apologizing.
Well, she snaps at the one guy.
Right.
She does snap at the one guy. And he's like, I'm sorry. And she was like, no, I'm sorry, too. Just a lot. I guess I'm just not used to being chased in the mall in the middle of the night by killer robots.
Not delivered as a joke. Not at all. Like, not in a snipey way. This is just... Yep.
No,
she's
it's
just
fact.
not. This is just all new to her, and
I'm like,
cut her some slack.
she's not. That's when I kept saying, "Isn't the mall going to open at some point? Like, aren't they saved? Like those janitors that left, don't they need to come back?"
I don't know, and nobody ever says this.
But
couldn't somebody say something like, "Well, the robots can probably keep those doors shut for as long as they want," but nobody says that. Like that would have been an easy way for us to go. They have to find a way out, but at 6 a.m. the doors are just going to open.
Well, my whole thing was but I guess this is not what you think in a crisis situation, such as midnight and being chased by killer robots. But at some point, we saw this mall earlier. We saw a mall montage. This is a very active mall. People are going to want to get in. Even if the doors don't open at 6 a.m., people are going to start getting in here. Like these robots can't kill forever. Like you said, just find a place wherever they're not, just stay there and hide.
Right.
Let's
yeah,
not
eventually
try to,
there will be a crowd.
That wouldn't make for entertainment, guys.
Right.
That wouldn't
the
make for entertainment.
police will eventually be called.
Right.
The security system will eventually come out. Everybody will know about it. And the cops will be like, was your mall happen to be struck by lightning last night? Because...
That makes the robots go gooky.
I didn't want to say anything,
tell ya.
But we sold this to a mall in Germany, and oh boy, 82 people dead.
Yeah, we forgot to tell you, don't activate the robots under thunderstorm conditions, or then they kill.
Didn't you read the manual?
Normally
it was at the beginning of the video about the guy who stole jewelry.
Yes, exactly.
Clearly, it is at the bottom of the screen in small type.
Right. It's italicized, so it's hard to see, but you got to slow the vid down.
So now that we're down to 4 people left, they come up with a plan, which is to use mannequins and mirrors for some reason confuse the robots. First of all, the robots are bad shots, and they annihilate those mannequins. Those robots only made one girl's head explode and missed everybody else with these lasers, and they destroy those mannequins.
Yeah.
So in the midst of this shooting, the one girl, the girl with dark hair, is unceremoniously shot. Like, all the deaths in this movie are pretty big deals, and she's just, like, shot in the stomach or something and just kind of falls down.
She's electrocuted, right?
No, she gets shot with a laser. I expected.
But doesn't she get?
No. Her boyfriend does. In my favorite death in this movie, because after she dies, this robot, you're right, shoots a mirror. It bounces back at the robot, and it's all like Conky from Pee Wee Herman, like freaking out. Its arms are flailing. So the husband of this dead girl freaks out and gets in like a luggage car. And it's about 5 feet from this robot, and he drives right into the robot, rams it, shooting the gun the whole time and screaming. Must get it up to at least 2.5 miles an hour, runs into it, and then he is electrocuted and killed. It's my favorite death in this movie because it is so silly.
So random.
But you're right. But that couple is just one after the other. That's Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is pretty great. And then that robot is dead, so it's down to one robot against 2 nerds. And this might be another great acting part of this movie. I don't know if you noticed, after these 2 couples, or this couple is dead, the nerd guy is against the wall, and the girl has her hand on his shoulder, and he's kind of breaking down, and he slides down the wall, and her reaction is like, oh, are you ad-libbing? Should I be sliding down the... She keeps her hand on his shoulder and then just, like, slowly crouches down with him. Like, that was not... He wasn't supposed to do that, and they had rehearsed it, and she was not prepared for him to do something different. It's really great, and I'm not saying go back and watch the movie for that, but I watched it. I watched it a couple times because it was so good. All right, so we're fast approaching the end of this movie because, again, it's 77 minutes and we've been talking for over an hour. So they split up to find the computer, and it's really the one time in this movie where I thought they tried to build tension. Is finally we have the individual characters alone, and they're going through these back spooky dark hallways. Nothing really comes of it.
What about when she opens the one closet door and it's just like a pile of metal junk comes at her. Like, what storage closet is that?
It's a lot of crazy, goofy jump
It's very
scares.
suspenseful, meant to be suspenseful because they're like trying to figure out. But yeah, in the end, you're just like, what the? Yeah.
So the robots do find her, and she screams a lot, and the robot doesn't laser blast her.
They separate, right?
Right. This is when
they
they're
decide
separate.
to separate, and so when she screams his name, Benny, Benny.
No, it's worse than that. It's a stupid name. It's really dumb. Ferdy, yes, Ferdy.
Ferdy?
Yeah. Short for Ferdinand? I don't know.
Okay.
It's not a good name. I apologize to
I
anybody
wrote down
listening
Benny.
who was named.
This whole time I was like Benny and Allison.
It's okay.
I don't know where I got Benny from.
That's all right. I wouldn't worry about
That's
it.
all right. Benny I would save. Ferdy I would just let go.
He
He
does. He does manage to shoot the robot in its face, so he breaks its laser. He shoots it right in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then keeps shooting, which we know bullets don't do anything, and then throws his gun when he's done, and then throws a fire extinguisher at it, which the robot throws back at him.
Boomerangs back at it. Yeah. Yeah.
And he is knocked out. I mean,
Yeah.
we're pretty sure he's not dead, because I kind of knew he was coming back.
Yeah, it's not as it's not a lot of blood.
But it is pretty
But
fun that he's out for the end of this movie, and it's just Allison, you said her name is? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to a pet store.
Of course, the mall pet store. Yeah. Well, this is sort of an intense scene where she's not only is she now trying to hide from this robot who wants to kill her and is shooting up the pet store to get her and kind of scanning the pet store to find her. Now she's hiding under, like, I don't know, hamster cages and this like little like underneath shelving whatever.
It is pretty great that the robots, I guess, cannot tilt their heads up or down.
He can just scan
side to
across.
side because all it had to do was look down, and it would see her looking up at him.
No, but she's trying to be so still, and so that's the thing. The creepy spider and the snake are all over her, and she can't squeal. She can't do anything. It's like Fear Factor times 1,000,000 because the robot can also.
There's like 2 spiders. Oh, you mean that there's
No, but the robot can
murderous
get her.
robot?
Yeah.
Okay. But she escapes from the pet store and goes into the paint store, where she dumps paint and paint thinner everywhere. Just opening can after can of paint and throwing it all over the place. And you're not sure what she's doing. I mean, you know what she's doing. It's paint thinner. And we realize that fire seems to be the only thing that kills these robots.
And her opening all of them, right? Doesn't she like crank them
she
all over?
She pops them all.
Yeah!
You see every can open and be thrown. And it cuts back to her and a robot just spinning around, not knowing where to go. So she calls the robot into the paint store, and like a stupid robot, it goes in after her, and it gets stuck in the paint. Like its shreds are just spinning on the paint. And then she has a road flare from somewhere.
Oh, because when they were in the hardware store or whatever, she stuffs it down her shirt.
Oh.
So she's had it with her for a long
All
time.
right,
yeah.
Okay. And then she tells the robot to have a nice day, and then there's an echo track for no reason.
Have a nice day.
That's a good point. She throws the flare in, and the entire store explodes. The robot is dead.
Yeah.
They have defeated them. The nerd comes out of nowhere. He comes down the steps. His hands bandaged for some reason.
Yeah. No, he's got toilet paper that he had on the back of because he had the owie on the back of his head.
From what?
And he was holding the blood from when he got knocked down from the fire extinguisher.
Oh, I thought the fire extinguisher hitting you in the chest would be what knocked him out. I thought his hand was gone or something. I didn't know what was happening.
Okay. He must have stopped at the restroom or the locker room. Maybe he knew where the locker room.
And then they embrace as the mall opens, or it's daylight now. And the end. And please tell me you guys watched the credits for this. Jamie, did you watch the credits? Because I don't think I've watched the credits for any movie we've ever done. But the moment the credits started, it has like the freeze frame of each character. It has a moment from the movie, and then a freeze frame, and then it has their name.
Right. Except the girl whose head got exploded.
Her freeze frame is on no head. It was so great. And hers, because again, it plays like a second or two of them, and it just shows her screaming. I'm like, there is no way they're going to freeze frame on a headless dummy and put her name there. And they do. And then at the very end, the robot rolls up and wishes us a nice day, which was a great ending to the credits. Have a nice
day, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, let's get into it. Jamie, what would you say? Did you enjoy this movie? I know that our two horror movies that we did last year, you didn't like either of them. You sort of seem to have turned a corner on Sleepaway Camp, and you enjoyed Night of the Comet. So I didn't know if you just sort of explored something new in your life, and this fell into good camp.
So when I watched it, I watched it last night. I watched it with my husband and my brother-in-law. And it was a really good most of the time when I drag people into our podcast movies, like I made my dad watch Smoky Mountain Christmas, and I know that you love that movie, Doug, but I realized how much my dad loved me when he watched that whole movie with me, because it's not his type of like. So my point is sometimes I'm like, I got to watch a movie for a podcast, and then people are like, oh, jeez,
what kind of podcast are you doing?
My brother-in-law is brutally honest. He's like, whatever. Anyway, it was a great time for all three of us. It was kind of like this fun, like we were all like, oh, what is this shopping mall? And it was a fun, like good 70 minutes for all of us to kind of do something. And hey, would I recommend it or watch it again? Was it that kind of good to me? No. But was it enjoyable for what it was? Yes.
All right.
Was there any chopping in it? No. Was it a little misleading? Yes.
That's how you're going to rate movies from now on. Like, not enough chopping, plenty of mall. I enjoyed it.
Exactly. Did I like it?
Yeah, and I
What about you?
This movie, and Jamie, I told you I had to watch this in 2 sittings, which is sad for a movie that's just over an hour long. But what I didn't tell you was I put it on knowing I had to do something in 15 minutes, which isn't a good idea.
Oh, right.
And when I went to watch it again, or to finish it, I started it again from the beginning, and I really had way more fun with this than I thought I was going to, because it's a movie that knew what it was doing, I think. I don't know if the people in the movie knew what they were doing, but the movie knew what it was doing, and it was so campy and goofy and silly. And like I said, the kills were so much fun and just so oddly entertaining, and the robots look good for a movie like this. And I don't know, it was quick, it was easy, it was enjoyable. I'd watch this again, I really would. So yeah, so that's it.
All right.
So
what do you recommend then?
All right, so I'm going
Would you recommend watching it again?
No.
Okay.
The panicky girl's name is Barbara Crampton. So I'm going to recommend another Barbara Crampton movie. It is directed by Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator and a bunch of other movies. He also directed a movie called Castle Freak. And I'm going to recommend Castle Freak. But it is a qualified recommendation because it's really gross. There's a part where this freakish monster bites a prostitute's nipple off, and they show it, and it is very disturbing. So if that's not the type of movie you like, do not watch this.
Don't follow that recommendation.
It's fun, and it's gross, and it starred somebody in this movie. And a lot of these people in this movie had careers, which I was very surprised by.
Actually, Allison still has an ongoing career, right?
Yeah, and the other guy was in Head of the Class, so where do you go from there?
Yeah,
really?
Right?
All right, Jamie, what do you have for us?
Well, my 2 movies don't exist.
Wait,
because one would be, okay. Well, yes. Shopping. I'm serious. Like my first
this movie that you didn't like, you were like, you know what they should do? Make a sequel.
Well, they should make it. I really did. So, okay, true confession. So at the end of the movie, I was like, what am I going to recommend from that? And I just thought of, first I thought of Paulie and his robot girlfriend from Rocky IV. And I thought if there was like a behind the scenes ever, or like a like making of the video, like if we could see Paulie and his robot girl now, because we never knew what happened to them, right?
No.
So that's I guess this movie made me think a little deeper about robots and our relationship with them in movies. And I wanted to see things, I suppose, that I hadn't.
So is your recommendation for our viewers just to do some research on robots and learn more about them and see where this crazy technology is going?
Yes.
Well, Jamie, your recommendations are always amazing. I'm always happy to get them.
I know. Learn.
Right. Don't use the internet, because that's just run by robots.
Right, exactly.
You don't know what you're getting on there.
Right. And if there's inclement weather around robots, you're fucked.
If there's a thunderstorm outside, don't go on the internet. Your head will probably explode at some point. So, Jamie, 2 weeks from now, we will be back with a presidential-themed movie.
Ooh.
Because if people don't know, there's a presidential election going on.
Huh?
At some point. I don't know. You vote in, what, September?
November 28th,
Did we already
according
vote?
to Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to do a few days before the election. That's when our next episode will come out. And I had a hard time finding a presidential-themed movie. And, Jamie, we're going to go into another one of your favorite genres, the action film. I know how much you like those. Yep, a karate movie about presidents who karate chop each other. So
that's called chopping.
That is. It should be.
That's got my
Kung Fu Presidents in a Mall, Chopping Mall. The end.
Chopping White House.
Why didn't you make
Chopping
that?
House.
Why didn't that movie exist? But anyway, we are going to.
Whereas the president's like, I veto this bill, I chop it. No, sorry.
So we are going to watch the 1981 John Carpenter film Escape from New York.
Whoa!
Where Kurt Russell, in an eye patch, is sent to New York to rescue the president, whose airplane crashed in Manhattan, which is now a prison. So that's in 2 weeks.
Yay!
So tune in then, because it's our first John Carpenter movie, and that's always fun.
And it's Kurt Russell, and that's always fun.
Yeah, that's always. I mean, I know it's no Overboard, but it's.
Everybody loves Overboard.
Son of a bitch!